It all started innocently enough. Melissa was a college sophomore enjoying a quiet Friday night in her dorm room. She was scrolling through Snapchat, watching her friends' stories, when she received an unfamiliar friend request. The username was SilentObserver92. Curious and slightly amused by the ominous name, she accepted the request. Almost immediately, she received a snap from this new friend. It was a picture of a dark, empty room with a single message, "I see you." Melissa chuckled, assuming it was a prank by one of her friends. She replied with a selfie, smiling and rolling her eyes. Over the next few days, SilentObserver92 sent more snaps. Each one was creepier than the last. First, it was just random dark rooms. Then, it was pictures of the outside of her dorm building, then her hallway, and finally, one taken just outside her door. Melissa started to feel uneasy. She asked her friends if they were behind it, but they all denied any involvement. One night, she received a snap that made her blood run cold. It was a photo of her room, taken from outside her window. The caption read, "I'm closer than you think." Melissa lived on the 3rd floor. Whoever this was, they had to be using a ladder or some other way to reach her window. She immediately called campus security, but they found no one and nothing suspicious outside. Melissa decided to stay at her boyfriend's apartment off campus for a few days, hoping to shake off the creepy feeling. She blocked SilentObserver92 on Snapchat and tried to move on with her life. For a while, everything seemed to go back to normal. One evening, as she was leaving her boyfriend's place to head back to her dorm, she received a text from an unknown number. It was a photo of her car with the message, "Nice ride." Panic set in. She looked around but saw no one. She quickly got into her car and drove back to campus, constantly checking her rearview mirror. Desperate for answers, Melissa reported everything to the police. They traced the phone number to a disposable burner phone, making it nearly impossible to track. Days turned into weeks, and the creepy snaps and texts stopped. Melissa began to feel safe again. Then, one night, as she was getting ready for bed, she heard a faint tapping on her window. Heart pounding, she slowly approached and peeked through the blinds. There was nothing there. She sighed in relief, thinking it was just her imagination. Her phone buzzed with a Snapchat notification. It was from a new user, SilentObserver93. With trembling hands, she opened the snap. It was a video. The camera moved through her building, up the stairs, down the hall, and stopped right outside her door. The last frame was the doorknob turning slowly. She ran to the door, pushed a chair against it, and called the police. They arrived quickly and searched the entire building but found no one. As they were leaving, one officer mentioned something that sent chills down her spine. "You know, this reminds me of an old case from a few years ago. A guy was stalking girls on campus using Snapchat. He was caught and locked up, but maybe he had an accomplice." Melissa never found out who SilentObserver was, but she moved off campus and changed her phone number. The snaps stopped, but the fear lingered. She could never shake the feeling of being watched. Jason had always been a social butterfly, making friends wherever he went. One evening, he received a friend request on Snapchat from a user named LostGirl95. The profile picture was of a young woman with strikingly blue eyes. Curious, he accepted the request. LostGirl95 started sending him snaps almost immediately. They were typical at first: selfies, pictures of her coffee, and shots of sunsets. Jason enjoyed their casual conversations and felt like he was getting to know her. One night, Jason received a snap that was different. It was a video of LostGirl95 and she looked scared. "Help me," she whispered into the camera. "Please, find me." The video cut off abruptly. Jason was stunned. He tried messaging her, but she didn't reply. Over the next few days, he received more snaps, each one more desperate than the last. In one, she was hiding in what looked like an abandoned building. In another, she was running through a forest. Her messages were always the same: "Help me." Jason couldn't shake the feeling that something terrible had happened to LostGirl95. He reported the snaps to the police, but without any real information about her location or identity, there was little they could do. Determined to help, he started to analyze the videos himself. He noticed a logo on a piece of machinery in one of the snaps and traced it to an old factory on the outskirts of town. It had been abandoned for years. Jason decided to go there and check it out, hoping to find some clue. Armed with a flashlight and a sense of determination, Jason entered the factory. The air was thick with dust, and the floor creaked under his feet. He followed the layout he had memorized from the videos, winding through dark hallways and empty rooms. In the basement, he found a room that looked eerily familiar. It was the room from the first video. His flashlight beam landed on something in the corner, a phone. He picked it up and saw that it was still logged into Snapchat. He sent a message to Lost Girl 95, "I'm here. Where are you?" The phone buzzed immediately with a snap notification. It was a video from a different angle, showing Jason in the room, holding the phone. A voice behind him said, "You shouldn't have come here." Jason spun around, but it was too late. A figure lunged at him, and everything went black. When Jason woke up, he was in a hospital bed. The police told him that he had been found unconscious in the factory by a night watchman. They questioned him about what happened, but he couldn't remember much after being attacked. As he recovered, he tried to piece together the mystery of Lost Girl 95. He discovered that the username belonged to a girl named Emily who had gone missing years ago. Her case had gone cold, and no one had heard from her since. The police believed that someone had found her phone and used it to lure Jason to the factory. To this day, Jason doesn't know who attacked him or what happened to Emily. He deleted his Snapchat account and vowed to be more cautious online. The factory was demolished soon after, but the mystery of Lost Girl 95 remained unsolved, haunting Jason's thoughts every time he closed his eyes. Sarah loved using Snapchat to stay connected with her friends. One day, she received a friend request from a username she didn't recognize, MaskedMan23. Curious, she accepted the request. Almost immediately, she received a snap. It was a picture of a man wearing a white mask, standing in a dimly lit room. The caption read, "Do you know who I am?" Sarah laughed it off, thinking it was a prank by one of her friends. She replied with a picture of herself, saying, "Nope, should I?" The response was immediate. Another snap came in, this time a video. The masked man stood silently, staring into the camera, then the screen went black. Over the next few days, the snaps from MaskedMan23 continued. Each one was more unsettling than the last. There were videos of the masked man standing in various locations around town, the park, outside a coffee shop, near her apartment building. The captions were always vague and ominous, "I'm closer, can you find me?" Sarah reported the account to Snapchat, but nothing happened. She started to feel paranoid, constantly looking over her shoulder and checking her phone. One night, she received a snap that made her blood run cold. It was a video of her apartment door. The caption read, "I'm here." Panicked, Sarah called the police and reported the harassment. They came to her apartment, but there was no sign of anyone suspicious. They advised her to stay with friends for a while and to change her privacy settings on social media. Sarah decided to stay with her best friend, Jenny, who lived across town. She blocked MaskedMan23 and tried to put the whole ordeal behind her. For a few days, everything seemed normal again. Then, one night, while she and Jenny were watching a movie, Sarah received a snap. It was from a new username, MaskedMan24. She opened it, and her heart sank. It was a video of her and Jenny in the living room, taken from outside the window. The caption read, "I found you." Sarah and Jenny called the police again, who arrived quickly and searched the area. They found a man lurking in the bushes outside the house. He was wearing a white mask, just like in the snaps. He was arrested and taken into custody. The man turned out to be someone Sarah had met in passing at a party a few months earlier. He had become obsessed with her and used Snapchat to terrorize her. The police found multiple accounts on his phone, each one dedicated to stalking different women in the area. The police reassured Sarah that the masked man would face charges and likely wouldn't bother her again. However, the experience left her deeply shaken. She couldn't help but feel paranoid whenever she received a new friend request or Snapchat notification. Sarah decided to take a break from social media, focusing instead on her real-life connections. She started attending a support group for victims of stalking, finding solace in shared experiences and the strength of others who had been through similar ordeals. Jenny was a constant source of support, helping Sarah regain her sense of safety and normalcy. Gradually, Sarah began to feel more secure, though she knew the fear would never completely disappear. She installed security cameras around her apartment and became more vigilant about her personal information online. Months passed, and Sarah's life slowly returned to a semblance of normalcy. She even started using Snapchat again, though with far stricter privacy settings. One evening, as she was scrolling through her friends' stories, she received a friend request from an unknown username, SilentWatcher01. Her heart skipped a beat. She hesitated, then decided to accept the request to see who it was. A snap came in immediately. She opened it with trembling hands. It was a photo of a dark room, with a single message, "I'm always watching." Sarah reported the account and blocked it immediately. She knew it could be another sick prank or someone trying to scare her. However, she also knew better than to dismiss her gut feeling. She called Jenny and the police, reporting the incident and staying with her friend for a few days. The police investigated but couldn't trace the account to anyone specific. Sarah's story became a cautionary tale among her friends and community. She started giving talks at local schools and community centers about the importance of online safety and being cautious with social media. Though the fear remained, Sarah channeled it into something positive. She became an advocate for victims of cyberstalking, determined to help others avoid the nightmare she had endured. And whenever she received a new friend request, she remembered the masked man and the silent watcher, and she always took a moment to think twice. For more horror stories, please subscribe to this channel.